Welcome to the Rebuild SoCal Zone podcast, where we talk about all things construction and infrastructure in Southern California. For this week's episode, we are starting a brand new ongoing series about all women in construction industry. To start off this series, we have Journeywoman Julia Padilla with us today to talk about her journey into the construction industry, her experience in the training programs, current projects she is working on, and more. Hello, Julia. How are you doing today?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm doing very well considering the fact that I worked a night shift, but I'm here and I'm very excited to be on this podcast with you guys.
Well, Julie, it's really actually an honor to have you. Just a little background for those that are listening for the first time. Julia actually was featured in one of our very first SB1 videos that we did talking about the benefits of the gas tax dollars at work for those here in California and talked about the North Coast corridor. And she was really instrumental in the video and talking about what it was like to be on this particular project. Julie is a member of Labor Union Local 89 and servicing North County for San Diego. And I'm sure most, and maybe even some areas of Orange County, we'll come to find out as she tells us a little bit more about her story. So, Juliet, talk to me a little bit about the project that we first saw you on the video, because you were one of the first women we had videotaped on the job for these SB1 projects. Tell me a little bit about that. We know it to be called the Perfume Bottle Bridge, I think is what we called it.
Is it? I'm not sure, but yeah, it's Manchester whole bridge reconstruction. It hasn't been touched since for 50, 60 years. So me coming into this project was all new to me. Me in construction, it was all new to me. So this is a very first experience that I've been able to kind of really get a taste of. And it's a big awe because I've lived in San Diego for all my life. I've driven on the 5 freeway, and being a part of this whole redevelopment, reconstruction of the 5 freeway and Manchester Bridge is a big landmark. And with knowing that, I just kind of had to grasp everything, the whole changes, the whole breaking down and building up, and the whole process has just been phenomenal experience for me.
And let's talk a little bit about your experience and a little bit about your beginnings in construction. Maybe when did you start? How'd you get involved? Why construction? Anything that you feel like you want to share?
Okay. Well, in 2017, I was in working for Albertsons. I worked with them for 17 years, and I've done management in 7 years. And my father, who is a retired Local 89 member, retired, and he kind of mentioned how there was going to be a lot of infrastructure jobs coming up and stuff. And I wanted to change because I was kind of burned out of the retail stuff. I'm like, so what do you think about me joining construction? And he's all like, honestly, Miha, that's all up to you. And I'm like, you know what? And I've been physically active and stuff. I know, there's challenges and stuff. So I went for it. So I applied, got a call for the boot camp. But at the same time, I was also going possibly back to management. So there was actually a little decision I had to make. So I kind of just went with both by going to the boot camp of Local 89, who supplied a boot camp to kind of give you the touch and feel of what exactly I'll be exposed to, the heavy lifting, the weather, the whole acclimations of everything that I will be processing through. So after I kind of went through all that, I kind of took classes, a lot of safety classes, because there is a lot of classes that they did offer that I wanted to get a taste on, because I honestly have no idea about construction, other than the fact that they closed down certain areas to rebuild and build. But there's so much detail and so much environmental protection and protection for the employees that go on, whole OSHA understanding, and it's really for our safety. There's a lot of safety measurements that we come into, because it's actually a dangerous field. Any little wrong step could cause a huge, heaven forbid, impact on someone's whole family's lives, but that's why I've kind of learned that and became part of like more of a watch crew of watching out for each other as we're learning and going through this process all together. Yeah. So going into construction at the age of 30, how old am I now? 37. And I'm now 40, and I've journeyed out 2 years. So I'm in 4 years. I've been in it 4 years now. And I know this is a career choice for me. it took me a while to kind of accept that, not accept that, but kind of really think about, is this what I really want to do? And
Right.
every day it was like, absolutely, because there was something always new to learn. Yeah.
Obviously having your dad in the union and growing up, seeing him and, being around it, other than a new career choice, do you have like a natural idea that you like to work with your hands, or you're looking at technology? What was it really for you that had you stay for, now you're in it, now your journey? I mean, a lot of people probably would have quit before this, not knowing what it was going to be like. So what got
Yeah.
you through that?
Yeah, actually, I'm a farmer's granddaughter. My grandparents were farmers, and so as I was growing up, I grew up in that farming lifestyle, waking up very early in the morning, helping them, kind of go outside and get the soil ready, water the vegetations and stuff like that, and seeding and growing things. So I was a part of that. So it's kind of like, as you're young, you think it's like a torturous thing. I look back at it now towards like, that was a huge lesson for me to kind of carry on, knowing how to use my hands, knowing how to acclimate my body into all different types of weather changes and stuff like that. So I've always been kind of an outdoorsy person. I've always liked kind of playing in the dirt and, and kind of envisioning like these ideas of building rivers or building something. So as I was doing that and being a farmer's granddaughter, waking up, just obeying and kind of running the household by cleaning it, make sure everything was right. I've always kind of been an energetic person who's always wanted to kind of use whatever I can do to help, just my hands and my feet. School, I was an average student, but school was never really my really full focus as much as I wanted to, because I'm like, oh yeah, I want to change, but it was never really my focus. I was really more of a hands-on person, a way of learning and kind of just going through experiences, what I enjoyed. Yeah, so yes.
Yeah, no, let me ask you this too. So let's talk a little bit about your training, your boot camp that you went to. How long was it? Like from day one when you showed up, what was it like?
It was intimidating. It was a whole new, like, going to school for the first day, am I dressed right? Did I make sure I wore my boots, proper attire? But the first day, I was just like, kind of like, let's just kind of see where this goes in my mind, and got to know, there was a majority of guys, of course. There was one other female. She was a little bit older than me. And yeah, so I was just there. I was listening to the introduction of the class of what exactly it is I might be stepping into, the whole construction side, what there is available, and how to kind of journey through that by taking these classes. And the whole boot camp was basically the physical challenge of getting to know what I'd be facing, from one end, maybe about 50 yards, it would be like us taking bricks and just walking them over and kind of building on that. And it was 115-degree temperature outside. So going through that and just like, it was a physical challenge. I had to take a break at one point because I was just like, whoa, this is a little bit much. And I just took a break, but I'm like, no, I could do this. So I continued, with doing the little cycles that they had of sandbag carrying.
I've actually had an opportunity to go to the laborers training facility and
Mhm.
actually watch the apprenticeship training in progress, the boot
Oh,
camp progress. So I know, watching you from one end of the yard to the other end of the yard, learning literally how to pick up lumber, drop lumber, sandbags, turning around so you're not hitting someone, how to handle it.
yes.
It's really a skill and an art to do it safely, in my opinion.
Yes, yes, because in that, especially in that weather and stuff like that, or in any environment, it is a physical challenge, but it's also a mental challenge to kind of really, really listen to yourself, because you don't want to hurt anybody around you or yourself, for sure.
Yeah. So Julia, let's change gears a little bit here, because I want to talk about kind of like the pride in your work. What I hear from so many contractors and construction workers and labor union is really the pride that they have in the projects that they're doing, especially when one is actually coming to completion. And again, I want to go back to the video. You
Mhm.
said something so pivotal, and I really loved what you had to say. And you could tell it came from your heart. For those who haven't watched the video, we're going to have a link to it at the beginning of the podcast so that you can see and feel what I'm talking about. It was a point where you said, when you were asked, what was this like? What's this project like? And you said, it's just like a painting, all plain, and then just piece by piece, every day, it's like, wow, we are creating something really amazing for California. Do you remember that? I mean, because that was just such a, the way you said it and the way you came across, literally you could tell the passion in your heart and what you were feeling and how dedicated you were to doing this job. And at the end of the video, you said, I'm going to be very overwhelmed knowing that I participated and my sweat runs along this road with many other coworkers. Literally brought tears to my eyes. I could hear you get choked up, and I was like, she really cares about this. This is really meaningful.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Actually, that kind of gets me choked up now because it's like I'm at that process. It's funny because now I'm at that process of seeing almost the finale of all this coming through because we don't have that much longer until the bridge is completed, and going through that and kind of seeing that and feeling that completely as we're approaching that is because, yeah, it is like we're taking this canvas that's we're taking all this stuff that's been there for a while, taking it apart, and we're actually taking it apart, and
Yep.
then we rebuild it. I have no idea. I know a lot of us have no idea what the picture looked like before, or the plans and stuff like that. We just go out there and we do it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
once we see it, because we know there's going to be little tweaks along the road because things won't measure up all the way completely because there is no perfection, but yet we create something and we all come together as far as the engineering team, the management team, the supervision team, the labor team, we all come together despite all our differences of learning to come up with a solution in order for this process to continue and succeed, and now coming to the tail ends of it, of this one little section, it's come along beautifully. And I'm still so very excited to be able to see the ultimate finale of it and being able to drive on that and knowing that, as a child driving through that, knowing what it looked like before. And now with the whole population, coming through, there's a lot more commuters and stuff like that. And people are just focused on just getting to one place to another. But me being a part of the redevelopment of it, it's like you don't understand how much we wanted to develop this for everybody to commute through, and just appreciate the fact that, you know what, we may have our differences all around, but we're trying to do our best to make this work, to make everybody, in a bit satisfied and stuff. And not that we could satisfy everybody, but it's gonna be a new beautiful treasure for
Yeah.
San Diego.
Honestly, when they talked about the perfume bottle, I thought, wow, what a great name. And it really had to do with all the different angles that this bridge had to it. So that's very intricate in itself, probably either hasn't been done or maybe to this degree because of all the changes that were happening. I mean, you were working with the environmentalists to protect, the lagoons and the estuaries, et cetera. So this is like one of
Yeah,
those things.
the whole process with the lagoon was amazing of how they kind of reconstruct it, making it look like it's kind of reconstructed on its own, but they go through a particular process in order to kind of make sure that the environment is well taken care of, and just it takes there's just an amazing process to it all that no one's able to see, but I was able to be a part of, knowing, the whole thing's gonna be just so beautiful. I'm just so excited.
I mean, honestly, that's really what this is about. And I know I'm a driver too, you're a driver. It is frustrating to, be in those zones, but imagine what's going to come out of it. It's well going to be worth the wait. Be able to have, safer pedestrian,
Yes.
bike lanes, walkways, railways. This was a very, very cumbersome project. And those listeners who aren't familiar with this area, this is in the North Coast San Diego County area along the 5. this is actually, I think, going 5 south, but it's all inclusive of that whole area. Just near, like between, I believe it's near Carlsbad, if I'm not mistaken.
Call it the Cardiff. The locals call it Cardiff, and other people just call it Encinitas, but it's the Cardiff area
So
because
Cardiff by the Sea
yeah,
actually is
yes,
its own city. I did live there at one time
okay.
for, yeah, 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
It's an absolute gem and a jewel. It's like an old-fashioned beach town that nobody wants anybody to know about. However, it's
Yes.
within the area of Encinitas, so we do have neighboring beach cities, and it's a community that does want to have good and safe roads. So,
Yeah,
um,
and you could totally tell because they're putting everyone's, their bicycle, like you said, the bicyclists, the pedestrians, the commuters and stuff, they're giving them all the equal safety, enjoyment to enjoy this area. There's
yeah,
going to be a beautiful walkway. There's a hiking trail that's going to be, that's there, but there's going to be an added beautiful measure to it, on the lagoon, pedestrian walkway. The railroad has a new system, has two railroads going north and south, or, two
2
railroads.
rail.
And I was a part of that. I did the grinding on that for those railroad tracks. So it's like that experience was like, wow, every little rail over there, I
Mhm.
grinded, and I'm just like, wow, and having it all come together and knowing that that was another process of itself that was beautiful, that the community didn't really understand. They were just frustrated of all these big machines in the morning, But
Sure.
now that that's done, oh, it's so beautiful. And
No, I think you were right when I think you said that this is gonna be a masterpiece of some sort. This is gonna be one of those projects that will have a life history here, and, well overdue, as I
yeah,
know.
yeah, absolutely. It is very well overdue. And, and it's not like everything has a little detail to it. And we all pay attention to that detail. It's not like we're trying to hurry. Well, we are. Well, not that we're hurrying up, but we're like thinking of all the safety measures for each individual who's playing a part of this team, in creating this. And the safety measure of that, and just everything is just every little detail is taken a look at once, twice, 3 times until it's actually approved and we carry on in our day.
Yeah. So, Julie, I have to, gosh, your career started, you're doing so great, you're journeyed out, like, you're a shining star, and I think, I'd like to know, and I'm sure any other women that are maybe possibly looking at construction management, labor, whatever their goal might be in terms of getting into the industry, what has it been like to be a woman in the field or female in the field? And what does it mean to you to be working alongside these other females as well as the males in terms of team building and how that works collectively?
Okay. At the beginning, I felt very lost. But knowing that there was other females around and they were willing to kind of teach me really kind of made me feel like, all right, I'm a part of this team. Okay, let me see how they're seeing, how they do about things. And I had one amazing female friend who kind of really taught me from her experience, and she's been with it, I want to say 15 years, and she's almost close to retirement, and she's kind of shared her stories and what she's gone through and what a difference every generation has changed. There is an evolvement that does happen with our human nature with each other and with everybody. As far as being a woman in this, it was a challenge personally for me because I was raised to be a good girly girl, so, and construction, you kind of have to have really thick skin and a very strong backbone because you're going with majority of men, of course, but I wanted to go willing to
Yes.
learn about the male culture, not to scrutinize or kind of judge or kind of be like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, I came to learn about everything, to adjust to everything, because if I don't adjust to anything, then nothing changes with me, and I know I'd just be miserable personally. So I needed to learn to adjust and get to know everybody. And my patience started in actually traffic control. Traffic control was a big different type of patience that you have to be in with a lot of stress on you because you're dealing with vehicles that are coming towards you as you're holding just this little sign that says stop. But you kind of have to stand your ground and be like, we understand that this is a heavy transportation area, but we're trying to get this safely done. And you have to sit down your ground and be like, no, I need you to stop. And that people will be like, don't understand, or flipping you off or whatever. And it's like, I just go with that gesture, is like, because they don't understand what we're doing, but I understand. So going into construction, I came into learning, and I have a really great understanding for the field and in people and everything. As a woman, you kind of have to go in there, and really, it's a challenge for you personally as a woman to kind of go in and try to change something for yourself. That's what I did. I went into it to change something for myself because I knew where I was at. I couldn't stay and survive. So what did I have to do? Not that I had to, but I chose to. I chose to join a field that was going to challenge me mentally and physically and emotionally. Absolutely. We are emotional creatures. So there are times where I'm just like, it's like, but you kind of have to understand your own emotions of why those triggers happen. And, I'm able to talk with majority of the men peacefully. I'm a good talker, I'm able to make understanding of the fact that I'm here to learn. I know I may look different, I may be small, and I'm a female, but
But
please,
I'm strong.
yeah, don't let any of that change your opinion on me by your perception, because I'm here full willingly to learn and be a part of this team. And with that, I gained a lot of respect, and I'm so honored because the guys that I work with are just phenomenal. They're really great men. They're really great men. I mean, all their wives and stuff, it's like, please take care of your men. Just take care of them, because they work hard, long hours, and their stress is a lot different than what we think it is. They do go through the same stress, but being a part of it and being a woman, it was a difficult challenge for, I think, maybe a couple of years, but I had to go through those challenges and defeat it for myself to know that this is what I want for myself. I want a better future for myself. I want to stand independently, and I want to be able to communicate peacefully with everybody, in an understanding way, and being able that, we're not always going to agree on the same thing, but let's have a compromise decision before we kind of go about
I
it.
think it would be an honor to be on your team and be standing alongside of you. So I take confidence in the fact that, your willingness to learn, I think is probably, and I think male or female, it doesn't really have to be genderized. It can just be when you're in that work mode, you have to be able to protect each other. As I would think if you had a partner riding along with you in a patrol car. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
we're in this together. I've got your back, you've got mine.
absolutely.
And yeah, we both want to get home safely to our families. And that's really what we're here for, as well as, getting the job done. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what the environment's like. Once you get to know it and stuff, that's exactly the whole point. That's the main point and the main focus, other than the fact that we are trying to get something done, but we're here to look after each other for sure.
yeah, well, I think it's just wonderful the role that you're playing for other women who are looking to get into this and who can work alongside you, like you had your partner who's ready to retire that kind of took you under her wing, or just, kind of was a buddy to you through this process. For you to leave and really make a career change after being at Albertsons for 17 years takes some guts, my friend. I mean, that is, I don't know, and to get into construction. So
Yeah.
there there is something to be said about your strength. And if you
Yeah.
were to talk to other women, females, no matter what age, and male, what would you say to them in terms of choosing this career path? As we know, it's a career, not just a job. There's a wonderful future if you're willing to work hard. What kind of advice would you give to our listeners that are wondering or thinking about possibly doing
And
going into
that's the key there, is the willing to actually put in the work for it, putting the work into it. If you're willing to, it will you know, give you back what you put into. Absolutely. And it gives you a lot more because you have so much more growth and experience and being educated in, I guess, a hands-on way, and interacting with people and knowing that we are all alike, we are all the same, we all carry the same, emotions. Um, we just have different, I guess, different paths, you could say. But all in all, it's like you kind of have to give that chance, not get so comfortable. But once you get in that comfort, it's like let that be like kind of something to trigger you to kind of try something new and different because it could. Like I said, I told my superintendent, I never imagined myself being in construction and enjoying it as much as I do. And I think
Yeah.
that's where they say the pot of gold is when you get into something not knowing anything, but
Yeah.
but you keep on going it. It's that ambition, you just want to keep on going with it. And then, yeah, sure enough, every day pays off. It pays off with going home knowing that we did our job and we did it well and we're able to relax on our weekends.
Well, I mean, they are life lessons if we really want to think about it. Growing up as a child, and I don't know, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to quit something that I didn't think I was good at. So I was like, forget it, I'm not doing this anymore. And my mom was like, well, you signed up for this, so you're going to continue this. You don't ever have to play again, but you're going to finish the season. Well, by the end of the season, I had a whole new skill set. I did things differently. I was actually starting to get like I felt like I was getting better and getting good and so it is staying with it because you don't know what's next for you and you don't want to quit too soon or you don't want to give up.
No, absolutely. Absolutely not. Because I also do weightlifting on the side. So that's even a challenge on its own to where it's not. At first, it was fun, but then as the weight got heavier, the more I was just like, forget this. I'm done. But I have an amazing friend who's my coach, and he pushes me and it's like when you have somebody to push you and you don't know why they're trying to push you, but you just go through it and then after that whole push of that heavy lifting weight, it's like, oh, there's something so rejuvenating in your mind and your soul that's like, all right, I can still continue doing this. you know?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what it is. Like life, it's
Yeah.
never going to really be 100% easy, but enjoy
Right.
your easy days when they do come. But know that, you should always kind of challenge yourself or try something new and different and seek it out fully.
Well, with that being said, do you have any new projects that you wanted just to bring up quickly? Anything? I'm not sure if your time at the North Corridor project is over or if you're onto a new project. If there was something there maybe you wanted to share or talk about, we'd love to listen.
Okay. Well, like I said, I started as a local 89 laborers. I did traffic control. I worked with a lot of different crafts, carpenters, concrete masons, welders, and all that. I kind of learned a little bit of engineering, grade checking, which is really
Hmm.
cool because that's all numbers. And I like kind of like numbers and kind of, make pieces of the puzzle come together. No. And so there's a lot of different options for me, and I just want to continue and growing with that. As far as North Coast, we're still continuing. I think we have another couple years on this little section, maybe two years, but then we're going to continue moving up the north of the five to I
Okay.
believe all the way to the 78, and that's another 3 or 4 year project. So I will still continue being with Flatiron, FSSW. They also have other jobs in San Diego that are picking up. They have the Mission Bay that they're still trying to finish up on. I know there's a lot of infrastructure opportunities, and that's my excitement is knowing that I could move around and get a taste of all of San Diego and seeing that redevelopment. Like I said, like we need this infrastructure redevelopment because our growth population cannot overrun us to where
Right.
we're going to be, drains overflowing and all, grounds corroding. So we're just trying to prevent that from happening and dealing with a process that we can only manage with this time. We can't control the time and stuff, but we're trying to, do our best.
Well, Julie, we're thankful to have you on these jobs and really having seeing them come to fruition. Is there anything else that you have that you'd like to, we're open for discussion? Anything else that you feel might be there that you could add today?
No, I mean,
We covered a lot.
yeah, we did. We covered pretty much everything. It's like getting to know everybody, getting to know infrastructure all for the first time, and how it's amazing. It's not just the infrastructure, but just take an opportunity and chance on yourself to kind of experience something different and new. And it's pretty amazing because I'm amazed that I'm where I'm at in this right now in life. So you never know.
What a great place to be, Julia. Thank you so much, Julia, for joining us and sharing your story today.
Well, I thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Rebuild SoCal Zone. We hope you join us again in a couple of weeks where we'll be discussing a very important matter right now for Rebuild. Stay tuned for a multiple part mini series about the water emergency in Needles, California.